Oh,
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to Random Encounters, episode 16. I'm one of your
15,
hosts, Dan.
15.
Shit.
Redo,
Start.
redo.
Scrap it.
I'm
Clap
not doing
again. Clap again. Jeff,
I'm not doing it over again.
do it
I'm
again.
one of your hosts, Dan. Alongside Steve, who's
Hello.
buffering on my screen. Nex, who didn't do any of his homework this week.
No.
He's
And
not
Jeff.
the only one.
I'm here to argue.
And Jeff's here to argue with me. What's going on, guys? What have you guys been playing this week? Anything new, Steve?
Everspace.
Everspace. You mentioned that last week without going in too crazy into it. What is Everspace?
Well, last week I played it for like 2 hours before. It's a flight sim roguelike. If that makes any sense. Which
I mean,
you don't
those
like
are two
roguelike.
words that no, I don't. We'll find out all about that here soon.
Each space is procedurally generated.
Oh,
It
great!
is
So that means
another-
they were too lazy to make a level.
But
He's
no,
gonna ape out on this one.
yeah, he's gonna boil over.
Raw
Nah,
and other game names we can throw in here.
I've been having fun with that, but I'm probably gonna switch back to Wildlands because I think I really want.
God, you get so much freaking money. Like your value per game you purchased is crazy. How many hours you got in that? Like 400?
No, because I don't get that long to play.
Gotcha.
So, I actually hit level cap on the standard mode, and then you go backwards
Yeah.
to the tier modes. But once you hit like level 30, you're talking like one-hit kills to yourself. So you wind up running. Most people just grind. They grind to get down to tier 1, but there's not much of a point other than to say you did it. So currently, I'm looking into my next game, which will probably be a return to Dark Souls.
Cool.
And
What about Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice, the new game from FromSoft coming out here soon?
I'll have some thoughts on that next week.
I haven't looked into it much, but I think Dark Souls was more of a flavor win for me, along with the gameplay. So I don't think I care much about like a period piece. Probably in April, if my plans turn out right and I can get a cheap laptop, then I'm gonna pick up multiplayer Stardew Valley with my wife. Now that they've sort of refined that out, because she told me she misses playing games with me, but we can't really do that with our current setup.
2 switches.
I think you'll probably only need one. Is there crossplay available from?
No.
No.
No, I don't think it has crossplay.
No, so for like $200, I can get a cheap laptop that I can take with me for other purposes, and it'll still be able to play Stardew Valley because it's like a Super Nintendo level game. So, I think that's what I'm gonna do for her birthday.
She's not a
Max,
fan of the show, is she?
No.
You just
oh,
ruined
yeah,
it.
there's absolutely no way she's watching it. Max, you got big news for this weekend. Did you forget already that you're giving away all your shiny?
Oh, no. Yeah. That's happening. The shiny
I-
legendaries are leaving me on Sunday.
I assumed you didn't play anything, so
No.
I just didn't ask you the question.
Yeah, no. I was confused. The lead-in was bad.
So does that 500 followers?
Yep. We got there. So,
Dan,
goodbye
did you
to the
delete all your
legendaries.
follower bots so they're legit followers?
I don't have any follower bots.
Of course.
There are 500 people that genuinely like watching him talk to that professor.
Or at least did for a split second to click the follow button.
Mm-hmm.
Jeff, got your whiteboard ready?
Yeah, I got my
Let's
giant
go.
whiteboard ready. So I've been alarmingly surprised with how much I loved a game that I shit on their downloadable content model, and I've been playing the hell out of Dead or Alive 6.
Yeah, I did not expect after the all the crap you were giving that game for you to put that much time into it.
Well, it's weird. It's fun beating the shit out of a character in a wedding dress because you know they paid for that beating. But it's one of those few fighters that I've played more of the online than the actual story that comes with it. Not great, but it's at least competitive, and I enjoy that you're never really out of a fight in that game as long as you can pick your spots and dodge.
Mm-hmm.
I played.
Hold on. Sorry, I have a thing to say about that. Do you think you're ever playing bots that like the people put in there to have all the DLC to make you think you want it, you know?
Possibly, I wouldn't put it
Yeah,
past them.
so I played some DOA too. I've actually, by some I mean one game, and the person I played against, there's absolutely no way that that was a human being. I thought they were just disconnected, but then they actually did hold the block button for a little while. But
I played one match against a person who didn't move at all, but for the
do
most
you get like currency in that game? Maybe these people are just farming the currency to unlock stuff.
you do get currency when you lose. That's a possibility, but then it does keep track of your records, so their record's going to be terrible. But
As long as they can buy that sweet,
glasses or a
yeah.
different haircut. The customization in that game is just so creepy. Like there's like I started getting into like looking for games I play that have mods, like, just to try a different approach to them. And everybody's like, "Oh, fuck the mods! I don't care until they get the longer hair mod." I'm like, what the fuck do you want longer hair mod for? It's not oddly specific kink.
I'm
But
surprised they're not selling the longer hair pack for $20.
well, it's like you can pick their haircut, and then like it's like, is their left eye covered? Is their right eye covered? And I'm like, who gives a shit?
What is
Dead or
this game?
alive fans.
It's just a fighting game?
It's
Yeah.
just a fighting game with weird jiggle physics,
Yeah, okay.
which they've toned down for this one.
Well, you don't need to ask the question who would do that. You already answered it.
Yes, I have answered that question. So I tried to play Crackdown 3. My girlfriend's brother sent me a message last Thursday. Said, "Hey, get on. We're playing Crackdown 3." They thought it was 4-player co-op. It's 2-player co-op. So I tried playing some of the single player, and it had a 10 gig update and ran at like 17 frames a second on an Xbox One X. Which, if you're gonna bury a game, that's about the last breath it has. But I threw up on Instagram a video where I hit a plant with a truck and it was stuck like this running without me holding the gas down. So I think that should be their next like advertisement for their Game Pass. Just be like, play Crackdown for $1 and then forget about it entirely.
It's
This
kind of
sounds
how
like
Ding
my
Dong
next game.
XL is.
I beat the Donkey Kong DLC for Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle for my 6th game of the year. I played a little bit of Golf Peaks, which is a mobile port, but it's kind of like Marble Madness, but with more puzzle elements. Played a little bit of The Division 2, which
Is that worth getting into? Is there enough to play single player?
So I'm
make me wanna play it?
only playing it single player, and I'm enjoying it single player, but I'm enjoying what's there in spurts. So if I blocked out a whole weekend to play this, I'd be bored to tears.
Okay.
But hour and a half, 2 hours here or there, it's a good time.
Cool.
It feels a lot more balanced, a lot less just shoot them till they drop. You can actually kind of like, there was one room I was in where they knew where I was hiding. So while I threw a grenade out and ran around the corner, and the guy was still standing looking where I was, yelling at me to come out, and then I shot him in the back of the head because I was able to sneak up on him from behind. Like, I enjoy little things like that pop up from time to time. Played Legends of Heroes, Trials of Cold Steel, which not weird, but Japanese RPG.
A very Japanese sounding, badly translated.
Japanese sounding game, and because I hate myself, I also started Dragon Quest XI again, because what's one JRPG without a second 100+ hour JRPG on top of that? Played a couple rounds of Golf Club 2019. I'm not good at Golf Club 2019. Got a couple chapters down in Devil May Cry 5.
What chapter are you up to, by the way? Do you
I'm
know?
on 12.
Okay.
I just
I'm
finished
a little bit ahead of you, but not much. I think I'm 13.
Started Captain Toad Treasure Tracker out of my backlog. And the most important thing that happened this week in video games, Pinball FX Volume 3 came out. So I've been playing Theater of Magic, Champions Pub, and Safecracker on my cabinet. So excited. Nobody gives a shit. Moving on.
Hey, I did download the demo of that game a couple weeks back, and
it's
very close to beating the high score on the fishing game cabinet that you have.
It's unfortunate that Fishtails is the free table, because it's 3 shots. You hit the You hit the ramp on the left side, you hit the ramp on the right side, and you do that 6 times. Then they make you hit the left loop, and you get your high score. And then the only other shot in the game is to lock
The 3 balls
for
and get the
3 balls for
multi-ball.
multi-ball. But the way they kick those balls, it's a cheap table in real life, so they actually emulated it correctly. It just throws those down the middle, and you
Oh
gotta
yeah,
you gotta shake
I
it and
lost the
nudge
first
it.
one immediately, but I am very close to beating your high score. And as soon as I do that, I figure that's about all I'm going to be doing in this game.
Oh,
So.
I didn't know you were coming after my high score.
Oh,
I gotta get
yeah.
my fishtails
Oh,
again.
no, yeah, I'm coming at you.
We'll call you Dead Flip too.
he very quickly after I posted that just fucking destroyed my high score, so I took the post down.
It's like, who's this motherfucker? Doesn't matter.
He didn't even have time to see that I was chirping him on Instagram. I was just like, nope, we're taking it down. I'm not taking this public beating.
Did you get through your list?
That is the end of my list.
Well, I have only a few things, and I chimed in a little bit. You know, I'm Dead or Alive, played a match. I want to play you in a match, but I guess they don't have that yet.
So the season pass took priority. That will be out in a future update at the end of the month.
It's ridiculous.
Otherwise, we can try to randomly play each other.
When Nintendo is launching a multiplayer game that has better matchmaking ability than you're doing something horribly wrong.
Well, they've started off on the right foot because I haven't had to use my cell phone to get a match on the Nintendo Switch yet. So they're off on the right foot. It just doesn't exist.
And then I've been playing Devil May Cry as well. So looking forward. I want to look how far into that game I am, but I also don't
21
really. It's
21
minutes.
chapters.
Okay, thanks. That's what I needed to know. I didn't
Yep.
want to try. I didn't want to grab any spoilers. So so it looks like I'm a little over halfway. So that's pretty. Well, we might have some more things to play because Nintendo dropped an entire showcase full of indies on us this morning.
I'll
gonna-
be playing a different game. I'll see you guys later.
You don't want. You're
Good
not
night,
interested in any of these games.
They
There's
will
literally
also probably come to PC
yeah.
for future
Yeah.
Humble Bundle. to
Oh,
be-
actually, to follow up, what the fuck's that game called? Wildlands. I have 66 hours in, which only puts it at 31st place on my Steam top hits. Maybe 29th if you subtract the 2 idle games that currently take like the number 2 and 3 spot.
What's number 1?
Terraria,
Okay.
836 hours. Soda Dungeon and Idle Champions Forgotten Realms takes the second and third with like 200 and 300 hours because I just left those running for like 2-3 weeks and then never looked back.
I fell asleep playing Trials of Cold Steel the other night, like in my gaming chair, fell asleep, and I woke up and I was like, fuck, my playtime's gonna be way higher than it needs to be.
I wonder how, I don't know when the reset was, but there was a point in time way back in the day. It was before Terraria, but that's when they actually started keeping track, or there was like a weird reset when it happened, because my friend used to play TF2, like just shitloads of it, nonstop. And I asked him one day what his count was, and he had a couple thousand hours. And he was like, no, it should be way more because I had a couple thousand hours previously, and then there was an update where they reset everything.
That's insane.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna blast through these. So only stop me if something either catches your fancy and you need clarification, or if you have something to say about them. First off,
Good.
Cuphead coming April 8th.
I will
April-
buy it again to have
Yeah,
it
I
on
will
the bus.
Max, if you have not played Cuphead, which I'm pretty sure you haven't,
I have
it's
not.
definitely worth. It's
Yeah,
very
you
very hard.
to-
but
You need to play that.
a lot
Is
of
it
fun.
is it a $60 game?
20.
No, 20.
It is
I was gonna say I would
beautiful
not
and it
buy
is
it if it
frustrating.
was $60.
No, it's a shoot 'em up side scrolling shooter. Very difficult, very fair. I feel like there's only a few times
it's a
where
boss battle simulator.
only a few times where the game did something where I thought, there's no way I could have done anything different. And I still died. Overland is a
Turn-based
post-apocalyptic
strategy
road
game.
trip
It's
turn-based
turn-based
strategy game.
Sold.
Coming out in the fall. My Friend Pedro is like a hyper stylized shooter game where you run around and have a banana talking to you. It comes out in June.
Meh.
Neo Cab is a futuristic Uber driver simulator where you got to keep your Uber passengers happy. and keep your car clean.
You could spend $20 on NeoCab, or you could become a Lyft driver and make $20. The choice is yours.
Red Lantern is a sled dog kind of survival-y game where you're
I-
running in the Iditarod.
I saw that and I'm like, it looks like one of those indie games people make to get like critic claims awards. And then like the character got knocked down and the bear popped up and I was like fucking in. It immediately
That dog-
looked like Oregon Trail. in
That
the
dog
woods.
better not be fucking dead. Because that
Uh,
dog,
That
that
dog's
dog,
100% dead.
that dog got his neck snapped, and then in the next scene there was an empty spot on there. Like that better not be a mandatory thing to happen in this game.
That dog's dead.
Fuck. That's coming this year.
Fine.
Darkwood, top-down horror game. Doesn't look that interesting to me.
That game has been on my Steam wish list since 2017 when it came out, and I have not seen it on sale yet.
Katana Zero. Its mechanic was that everything that you kill takes one hit to kill, and everything one hit kills you.
You've
You have
played
some-
this game 1,000 times.
You have some
with
time
other
control
games.
mechanics that looks okay. Rad. It's a roguelike where you randomly mutate and use the skills that you mutate into to destroy enemies.
Tim Schafer game. He made Psychonauts. He gets a free pass for all of his games. I'm gonna play him.
Jeff's Wet Dream, Creature in the Well, a
Pinball
pinball-inspired
action
hack and
adventure
slash
game.
dungeon
It-
crawler.
Really, it's not pinball.
No,
but
it's
there's like
basically just
bumpers and
bouncing
shit
stuff
in it.
around.
Yeah, still gonna play it. Or request a review copy with our bomb ass new domain name email.
GameNightNow.com.
What do you
Check
think
it
about
out.
Sonic?
It'll bring you
Sonic is
here.
basically pinball.
Sonic has spinball.
Yeah, Sonic
Well,
Spinball.
I mean, just the game mechanics itself. There's like bumpers and shit you can bounce off of. Basically pinball.
Depends on the year. People don't hate Sonic unless you're putting them into a real 3D world, not on the Dreamcast.
Blood Roots. The only note I wrote down was keep your combo or die. It looked like some kind of, where you had to just go from one enemy to the next coming out this summer. Pine.
I have an alternate name that they should have gone with for Pine, and it's Breath of the Mild because it looks boring as fuck, but like they wanted to be Zelda.
It looks like a 1996 direct to DVD Christian movie.
The Veggie Tales,
Like
are in it.
Veggie Tales quality. It looks real not good.
Game of the year,
um,
calling it now.
Super Crate Box. I don't even know.
Nope.
And then there's a whole bunch of Van Bleer games. Those aren't me. Then we got Swim Sanity, Master Blaster 02. I wrote more
Numbers are
Blaster
important.
Master, more Blaster Master now with double the zero, like Jeff's pay.
Yeah, I love the 5. Catch up, Blaster Master 0, 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Stranger Things the game. Do we have any Stranger Things fans today? I think the trailer just dropped today.
Most of the country.
Yeah.
I stayed
No.
away from it.
Not
It's a good
I
show.
it didn't grab me. This looks like a period specific, makes it look like a late 80s style computer game.
It looks like a straight up cash grab, but
Oh yeah, it definitely is.
I'm gonna give it a shot.
And then Crypt of the Necromancer is getting some Zelda crossover.
Necro Dancer.
Necrodancer. God, I practiced that. I practiced that for like 5 minutes before we started, and I still messed it up.
That game had a trailer that was good enough to make me buy it, and the gameplay made me regret it instantly.
We have the same experience.
Yeah. I was like, oh, cool, another roguelike where I can go in a dungeon and it's just themed around music. And they're like, no,
Oh.
everything's rhythm. And I'm like, fuck this immediately.
Yep,
There was
but it's got
like,
Link.
over half of these games were all procedurally generated garbage, and this was one of the weakest Nindy showcases I think I've seen. I think that one that they just Phantom dropped like last month was a better showcase than this Nindy showcase.
That's just because you have a prejudice or a racism against procedurally generated games.
I just if Cuphead were procedurally generated, it would be an awful game.
Still,
It's
no
great.
more-
It's great because somebody took the time to make it great, not just like, oh, here, I'm going to roll the dice and maybe you'll have fun, maybe you won't. It's procedurally generated.
Still no mention of launch announcement Shakedown Hawaii either.
I don't know what that means.
It's the sequel to Retro City Rampage.
Oh, really?
hmm It's supposed to be 16-bit this time, but
Ooh.
they announced it when they announced the Switch launch lineup, and it is
Well,
not here.
that was the spring indie showcase. Like I said, I'm a little meh on it. Jeff, sounds like you are about 50-50. Mex, I don't believe he said any words.
There was
And
no Pokemon Let's Go mechanics in any of these Nindy games.
No. When's the next direct? The real direct?
uh, we'll probably get one in April. I would imagine we'll get one somewhere close to the launch of Joker in Smash Brothers, and maybe announce the next DLC character. We'll see. So, Steve, your Epic boycott is not working at all because Epic just locked down way more exclusives, including Obsidian's The Outer Worlds, which I believe was something you were excited for.
Epic won't really feel the sting of his boycott for another 3 years, though.
Yeah. No, they don't have anything that's making me go there. Epic to me is Hulu, where sure
That's
they
such
have
a good fucking comparison.
yeah, they have interesting things, but it's nowhere near enough to make me go through the process of getting another fucking subscription or even just sign up for it. There's so much stuff on the services I'm already a part of. I have no reason to move. Now, eventually, when things shape up, that might change, but that's pretty much the exact approach that I'm going to have to our later topic as well. It's
They got to show you
futurism
first.
stuff, but yeah, I mean, I don't have any firsthand knowledge of the Epic storefront, but I heard that's still really shitty. So, like, just the presentation and how to do and find things need a lot of work. But
It's definitely still pretty young, and it can get better. But there are some absolute bangers of exclusivity here that I'm sure they're just times, but I mean, there were a lot of people that were really excited for the Outer Worlds. I mean, this was the Fallout 3, the Fallout New Vegas guys.
I need to see it though. That's the thing. I don't get excited about new potential games for the most part anymore because after 34 years, well, 33 years, I've been burned enough times on, oh, we're making this great new game from a series that you love that just fucking sucked. So, like, I didn't get into the Fallout series till Fallout 3. That was good. I enjoyed them all. And then the DLCs started to fall apart. After a while, they weren't interesting to me. And then they were talking about Fallout 76, and I was like, no, I'm going to wait and see what happens. I'm glad I did. The game fucking sucks.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, this is the team. This isn't the Fallout guys. This is the team that made New Vegas that most people consider to be the best of the series. This is the last game I would have thought that would have went down the exclusivity rabbit hole, but
still doesn't matter to me who makes it because good people still make shit games.
I know.
I was just looking at the Sekiro, or I'm not sure I pronounced that right. The
Sekiro.
new From Software guys. That game does not interest me at all, judging from the preview that I watched while you guys were talking about the My Undies or whatever it is.
And
they're not a sponsor yet. Free plug.
Yeah, they could be.
Could be.
But yeah,
play your cards right, and tens of
just
people
Obsidian's game, the new game from Remedy Control, which they debuted at E3 this year, looks pretty cool. Again, down the exclusivity rabbit hole, along with all of the PlayStation exclusive, choose your own adventure games. Detroit Become Human, Beyond Two Souls, Heavy Rain.
Really, really enjoyed Detroit Become Human.
It got a lot of accolades. It's not my style of gameplay, but now it's coming to PC and it's coming to the Epic Store. And I think the bullet point that I found right before we went live, it looks like they're going to do Humble integration, which if I don't have to copy and paste keys that I get from Humble and it just come right directly into my Epic Store, that's going to be where those those Humble bundles games end up at.
Mm-hmm.
But Epic is not slowing down.
Well, we'll see what they become. Steam has been very slow to have any sort of reaction to them.
I think they're just waiting for things to burn out. But it doesn't seem like there is a vocal majority or minority of people that are screaming about how awful everything on Epic is, but then Metro goes and sells more copies than it did the first time around on Steam. So
Well,
what are you gonna do?
they either need to be planning something that they're not talking to us about, or it's just going to be until they actually start feeling the
Also,
difference in lost money.
Steam doesn't have to do anything until they feel that pressure. And when they feel that pressure, all they have to do is a Metroid Prime 4 teaser logo for Half-Life 3. Just an orange 3 on the screen, and it's over.
If this whole Epic experiment leads us to Valve making games again, I think it's a success for everybody.
You know what Valve should do is they should release Half-Life 3 exclusively in the Epic Store and just be like, fuck you, go for it. It's our big game. But
We're
require you to log into
much
Steam
money
to use
off
it.
of a different platform.
Because they would get more, well, I mean, they get 100% of the revenue share, but
yeah.
ignore me.
I know. I get your joke. The joke was funny.
Eh.
So the big top, or you go ahead.
I was gonna say it'd be better if they put it on something that nobody wants to go on, like Uplay.
They just released it on Uplay.
Release it on Origin.
I'm just a hair tempted off of Division the 2, but not enough. Plus, EA can suck a dick.
No, they're not. Division 2 is not EA.
Yeah, well, they can still suck a dick.
It's Ubisoft. So I think what I planned on being the biggest topic of the evening, Google came flying out and did a whole hour-long presentation about their new gaming platform, and they call it Stadia.
They came out with their new gaming controller, Stadia. I mean, I believe you can put in tea to make diabetic-friendly sweet tea.
It does really kind of sound like the sexual reproductive organs of plants.
Yeah, it's a curious choice for the worst name they could have come up with.
Yeah, I don't know. It is the I did through all of this learn that Stadia is the plural of stadium.
Yeah, it's Latin. Come on.
Yeah. That
And
was my first thought. I was like, Stadia? Is that like a bullshit stadium?
The only thing people like more than learning is playing games.
I thought it was Stadia was like a seat in a large theater.
Just like, medium, media, stadium, Stadia.
I want to tell you to shut the fuck up, but this is the only thing you're going to say all episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, go back to what you're doing. Yeah, the name's not great, especially for what it is, but I don't think the name really matters because from the first thing they showed where you were watching a trailer for a video game and there was a play it now button and then you just started playing it, I'm sold. This is definitely going to add value to the gaming ecosystem. Some other notes about it before we discuss its viability. It looks like it's going to be launching at 4K 60, scalable up to 8K. Doom Eternal is going to be there. They said it runs good. I'm guessing they paid them a lot of money to say that. We got our first look at the Stadia controller, and they mentioned two features that intrigued me. State sharing, which allows you to just kind of pause your game and then post a link out, and then everybody can unpause your game and play from where you paused it. So you can set up a scenario and have somebody play what you want to play. And then crowd play, which is a feature for streamers. They could allow other people to come into their game. And the example they gave was NBA 2K, where they filled the rest of the team out with people on YouTube.
Those are both really bad ideas.
Okay.
I was going to say the jumping into a game state has absolutely zero appeal to me.
Yeah. That's going to be like every game that ever had a make your own level portion of it, like Far Cry 5 did. And nobody really fucking gives a shit. Like, there's a couple people who get real hardcore about it, and then some people that explore it. But in general,
Far Cry 5 had a level editor until you just mentioned it.
There's a ton of games that have level editors
for that game, and I have not.
Talk amongst yourselves for a minute.
Yeah, but nobody fucking cares. And nowhere in the history did you ever want to open up a semi-open window to your game because
Right.
there's
Never.
no real difference between playing like just open online with randoms.
That's like the modern version of like you can't beat a bad guy or the boss, so you give your older brother the controller and he takes over.
Yeah.
Except you don't have to be in the same room.
Or if it's more towards streamers, then it's like, all right, every stream sniper ready, set, join my game.
You know, I could see Mex using it as like a Patreon tier where you can play games with them or something, but
But you can't play Pokemon multiplayer.
that's true. You can't play Pokemon multiplayer. I forgot that he only plays one game.
Yeah.
It's a fun game.
It's a fun game. Would
You know what we
I
should-
would I base the last 6 months of my life on it? Probably not.
We should get a message service or something that we're like, as a Patreon tier certain level, they could just call him and you guys can have a live discussion on
Mhm.
air.
It's called Discord.
Yeah.
You could do it for free.
Yeah,
Which is actually what we did on Monday. Like we
No,
actually
you
had
don't-
people in the voice channel and we were just chilling on chat or
you
on
don't do
stream.
it for free. You put that on Patreon. You make them pay for it.
No.
Nah,
We-
that's,
we-
that's not how it works.
That's what I like about it is we don't sound desperate when we mention the Patreon link in the description below, or that he needs bits to survive.
Well, we don't
Subscribe.
sound
Subscribe.
desperate on every platform that ever existed on the internet.
That's not true because we're being broadcast to every platform on the internet.
Yeah.
All of our YouTube watchers right now.
Everybody on Mixer, that one guy in California. Actually, I want to know who the one guy in California that watches this show is.
Want to know who
Dude.
the Chechnyan who is
Isn't there-
listening to our podcast?
Yeah.
I
I
want to know
swear
what
to
value
God.
he gets out of this. If he thinks
One
you're
day I'm gonna come in here and Dan's gonna be like, "Hey, we're finally on Tinder."
streaming you live from Tinder. It's game night.
Just put a
now.
picture
Believe me,
of what I'm looking at. All four of us on Tinder.
If I could get a stream key for Tinder, we'd be on Tinder.
If you don't like the topic, swipe right.
Yeah.
Sorry, I scratched something on my leg and it started bleeding way more than it should have. You know how you like, it should have just been a little bit of blood, but then you reach your hand up and your hand's covered in blood. Yeah.
I do.
So, anyways, did you guys actually talk about the topic, or did we
Nope.
just kind of? Okay, cool.
Off the rails. Every time you're gone, we break it out.
So, I think that this was a very impressive thing that we didn't really see it work at all, and we don't know anything about, but it did make me believe.
Of course
Um,
it did. Any new technology, you're right on top of.
Yeah.
I wish that the camera could pick it up better, but there's a little bit of a glare. But right there is a boxed Steam Link, and right there is a boxed
Mhm.
Ouya.
I feel like Dan would have been
I'm-
the person to pre-order all that shit.
No, I mean the thing is, you guys are comparing like completely different things. The Ouya was a bad idea to begin with because they were charging too much money to put mobile games on your TV.
I watched the live stream on Google Plus through my Google Glasses, and I was impressed with it.
Yeah, me
But-
too.
I couldn't get past my PS3 eye camera and all the other peripheral shit I bought from bigger companies that abandon it the second they don't
But
turn a
that's
profit.
that's the thing. There's
Yeah,
nothing to
you-
buy.
You should have watched it on your Virtual Boy like I did.
There's nothing to buy. You guys can talk shit all you want, but
And
you can't see a value in this. You
There
can't see
is-
that a game trailer releases and they put try a demo now button at the end of it, and the demo starts and you can play it for 15 minutes.
With a couple of asterisks. How good is your internet connection? How much
Sure.
is the monthly subscription?
Sure. Yep.
How much
Is-
for those of you like me who were butt fucked by Comcast into a data cap?
Well, get out and vote.
How much data does it use to stream?
Net neutrality. Vote for
8K.
anybody that supports it.
It's a lot of
So-
question marks more than like it's a
Yeah,
cool
and
premise.
these are all question marks that I guarantee you, if we were running a movie podcast in the early days of Netflix, we would have been saying the exact same things. Why would hell would I want to stream it? I would rather just own the DVD.
Well,
I have a
let-
DVD player already.
Steve
I
and
th-
Max, and then I'll ask Dan last. What would you pay for a service where you could play, say, half of the brand new games that come out? Because not everybody's going to be on board with it.
I'm not going to be able to give you a good price point because I'm still
It's
so
zero.
limited in
You
time.
literally could say, you could play every game in existence, and if as long as it's not Ghost Recon Wildlands, he wouldn't want to play it.
It's because you pay
So
cash for Ghost Recon Wildlands. Treasure like that.
I don't like subscription services anymore because I need to get enough out of it to make it feel worthwhile. And a purchased game means it's always there whenever I want it. And unlike Dan, I do come back to my games over and
never.
over
Mhm.
again.
But
So
I think there are
our-
way more people in the world like me than there are like you.
I could be talked into a subscription model. I've been paying for Netflix since 2004 at least $8 a month.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, we do use Netflix a decent amount, but I've canceled other services that we just didn't get use out of. Like last time I played WoW, I had to buy a month of it, and then I had to scramble to cancel it because I decided that it fucking sucked like 5 days in. So it's just another added step to get rid of a game that I don't want to play. So I think
Yep.
the system is interesting, but we don't have real enough information to really formulate that much of an opinion because I've seen the broad spectrum of like this is the future, it's going to be awesome to
No, this is the
even
future
going
and it's
to
going to be
work.
okay. That's the anybody that tells you this is going to be better than the experience that you get with your computer or your console is lying to you. But this
but
is
I'm
the
just
future
telling
and
you
it's going to
reactions.
be good enough.
Okay.
The
I mean,
the only
that's
other thing that popped into my head was like Alan Wake is the example I come up with, where they lost the rights to use a song in it and they pulled the game off of the internet, basically. You can't buy that original version of Alan Wake anymore unless you find an Xbox 360 disc. So at a certain point, even though you're paying for these games and you have access to them anytime, there probably is a shelf life to that. So somebody like Steve who would go back and play an older game may not be able to in a year or two.
And I don't think that this is a replacement for and I think that's why you guys are pushing so hard against it because you see this as a direct replacement for the thing that you do and the way you like to play it. This is just a supplement to it. It's just another tool in the toolbox.
You
It's
don't
getting
need
people.
to be so offended. Right
No,
off
I
the
do.
bat.
I do
This
have to be
Because
offended.
because
Epic Game
you
Store all
labeled
over
me a
again.
hater, but you didn't even ask me if I thought it was interesting.
Because you came in hard hating. And
That's the role on the podcast. We can't all be
Yes.
like, "Oh, we love it. It's great."
No,
Like
I said
Max
there
over there
wasn't-
with his poker face. I haven't seen him give one. I don't know if he likes it or not. I can't even tell if he ate today. Like,
$20.
can't even read that guy.
That's how much I would pay a month to
$20
answer your
a
question, Jeff.
Thank you.
I said there's not enough information to be able to give any worthwhile opinion because we don't know what kind of model it is. Do we? They didn't say subscription or anything.
No. I mean, we're just assuming it's a subscription. I mean, I know one way to fail is if it comes out and they say you have the ability to buy a game and it's $60. But I mean, here's a crazy idea. What if you bought a game and you also got a version that you could stream? Like when you buy a DVD and you also get the code that you can put in to watch it. Yeah.
Code that nobody ever.
So much of it is riding on details we don't have.
No,
So
I'm just but taking it at face value for just what the ability of the equipment is. I mean, we know
potential ability because
Yes.
they still don't have any actual live. Well, did they? No
yeah,
live.
You should have paid attention to episode 2 when I talked all about how I played on the Project Stream beta.
Sure.
It was
But
fine. It worked, it worked perfectly. It worked perfectly fine. I mean,
Didn't
it was
this service already exist before and fail?
On Live, which became PlayStation Now, existed for a while.
It still does.
That's
still a
On
service
Live
you can
existed
buy.
for a while.
Yeah.
Isn't that roughly the same thing though as like remote playing?
Yeah, but it's comparing completely two different things. One is a
He didn't even talk about the
multinational
teraflops yet.
Yeah, well, I'm not bringing up the teraflops.
But
One is an enormous corporation that has a backbone in networking infrastructure, and one was a startup company that was running an office server in their basement. Like you can't really compare the two.
Yeah, but until we have more information of how it's going to work, what the model looks like, and all the other stipulations, like I think it would be really fucking cool if I could buy a game on this platform, a completely separate one, and be able to stream it off my phone. So if I'm screwing around somewhere, I could just whip out my phone and play pretty much whatever they have, as long as I take their dumbass boomerang controller with me.
What would be cool is if when we go, hey, what are you playing this week? And we go, Oh yeah, we all jumped into the same game because it's free included with the service, and we all have something to talk about.
Yeah. So
Except Max, who will still be playing Pokemon. Let's go.
so is it interesting? Yes. But how much am I excited about it? It fucking depends on all the details that they didn't come out with.
Even if this is just the YouTube of like the YouTube is to movies as this service is going to be to video games, where this is just where trailers live, and like you don't go to YouTube to watch a full feature length movie, but you can go there and click on a link and do things. And like you said that the state sharing was an awful idea. I don't think state sharing is a bad idea. I think
I don't think it's an awful idea. It's not for me.
so I mean, how many times have you ever gone and just watched a clip of something, somebody playing a game on the internet on YouTube, and they could just have it. They could have a state share there, and you could jump in right into that exact moment and play what they played. The cat's getting more attention than we are.
Yeah, I know.
Um,
I mean, I think the state sharing is really cool.
Yeah.
Don't be catty about it.
I mean, it's not replacing your game. It's you letting other people play where you are. Like, they're not playing your game. They're playing a new game that you just started.
I feel like it's just a novelty. Like,
yeah, I mean, that's not a system seller, but it's just something that isn't possible currently, but will be in the future.
Do you think a release window of 2019 feels rushed?
No. There was already a pretty fair amount of polish on the beta. It played pretty good already. So I'm not that scared about it. I'm scared that they're going to come out and ask for too much money, and it's going to end up getting Googled, where they'll support it for a little bit and then it'll just go away. Because
for me, I got to be at about an EA access price point for the year. I think any more than that, I think you're asking too much. But it all depends on what kind of game
what they have. I mean, this is probably the worst thing that you want to hear. But what if it is the YouTube model? What if there just is an advertisement every 10 minutes? Is there a game? Is there a game? I'm not talking about for every single game that you would ever play. But you're telling me that you wouldn't get tantalized by a game to play for 10 minutes, and then if you like it, play for another 10 minutes, watch an ad, and then maybe buy it later.
I would be interested if the ads lowered your price. So if you watched enough ads over a
I would
span
do
of
that
time,
in a heartbeat. I would do that in a heartbeat.
Or you could just keep playing the game with the ads and play it for free.
Now leave your computer on, turn the sleep settings off, run those Google ads through, then the game is yours.
No, it's just it's when the problem is that I think people aren't seeing, and because a lot of people on the internet, a lot of people are having the same kind of mentality that you guys are, where you're not really jumping in head first. You're just you're really lukewarm on it. I actually think you guys feel a little bit threatened by it, and I'm sorry if I came off angry when I said that the last time, but like it is a little bit scary because you bring up the fact that video games go away and all of these things, and you think that maybe the games that you like to play are going to go away. I mean, I don't think it's ever going to get to that point. I don't think that you're ever going to see a fighting game.
That's where problems come in anyway. So
yeah, I don't think you're going to see a fighting game that's going to be able to play with latency, because I mean they won't even play with a wireless controller, let alone streamed through the internet. You keep slamming on the controller. The controller's optional, man. You don't need to have the controller to play the game.
That's how you lower your latency, though, is with
their controller does connect directly through Wi-Fi, so you don't have to pair it to your computer and then send the commands through that. But
the controller to me look like when you watch an 80s sci-fi movie and they're like, "This is 1999." It's just like oversimplified to the point where it's really not a controller. It's just like buttons in your hand.
The little pre-render that somebody made from earlier in the week looked so bad that this was like, oh, it's not as bad as that. So this looks okay.
The other thing that rubbed me the wrong way is the Konami code on the bottom of the pre-rendered controller. And I was like, get it, gamers? We're just like you, like us. It just looked fucking desperate.
But I mean, the controller, I'm not really that. I probably won't buy that. I've got enough Bluetooth controllers laying around my house that unless the latency is really improved, that's not really my jam. I think the one other selling point was you could just move it from screen to screen with you. So if you're playing on your TV and you want to start playing on your phone, you don't have to repair the controller to your phone. You just turn the state on your phone and bring the controller with you.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm at the point where I need as big of a monitor as possible, and playing like Assassin's Creed on this doesn't appeal to me.
No, I mean, this isn't going to be the ideal way to play anything.
Even if it's like, oh, I got to take a shit, I'm not gonna like hurry up and grab a tablet and make sure I got the controller with me.
You don't have a bathroom tablet?
No, that's where the Switch is portable.
Well,
like to play my AAA games while I'm taking a AAA.
We'll get into the Switch part of this in a second. There are some things that this service allows that, you know, local gaming is slowly moving away from, and that's true full resolution split screen.
That
which they showed a demo of.
Looked cool, because the worst part about playing couch co-op games is having that tiny sliver of the screen.
Yeah, and then also splitting the resolution and dumping the frame. I mean, you don't remember it probably because of everyone remembers GoldenEye as this beautiful game, but when you played 4-player co-op or 4-player split screen on GoldenEye, you get about 8 frames a second. You have to share the processing power. So right. That's a huge benefit to this, where everybody's getting their own remote computer to power their screen. And then the other huge one is for game streamers, you don't need to have a PC powerful enough to not only play the game and stream the game. You're going to get a full resolution copy sent right out to whatever streaming service you're using.
That's weird. I forgot about the peasants who don't have a monster computer.
So
I'm looking at you, Kat.
I'm cautiously optimistic about, I'm lukewarm. I want to see what happens first. I'm not going to blow my load all over it like Dan is, because it's the newest, greatest thing.
That's why he got up later, to clean himself off.
Yes. Stadia. Oh, I'm bleeding. Oh, no.
It's all over the roof.
But, I mean, I want to see what their model looks like first, because I think
that
determines
that's going to break this. That's going to definitely make or break this.
I think it has some interesting features and what it can do. And it would be cool to be able to just jump into a game or try a game out, but I'm not really interested in long or short-term subscription models or ads. I think if it was more of a semi-traditional service where it's like buy a game, play it anywhere, however you want. And I also don't want to find out that like I loaded up Civ 5 on my phone while I was headed somewhere and immediately blew my data cap out of the water, because
data caps are definitely going to be rough in the future, and it's not just video games that are going to push those. It's going to be 4K streaming and then eventually 8K streaming. And if we keep going down the same path that we are and allowing the ISPs to push us around, it's going to end up stunting technology.
Yep.
Luckily, I don't live in a big enough city, but it will eventually affect us here, and I'm scared.
But we'll all have Google Fiber at that point, right?
That's true.
Hey, well, we're speaking about Google's failures. But
it's all over big cities, isn't it?
No, it's just in like two
Kansas City and like Seattle.
Yeah, they got. I mean, it wasn't for like lack of trying. They got a lot of money got sent to the government officials to prevent them from allowing them to put their fiber down.
He's on camera.
So I also want to know how well the implementation is just for the interface and how well that works and moving things around, because I'm having these horrible flashbacks to when we first moved into this house and when we just hooked up the internet but didn't really have like a streaming item. So we just like hooked up a laptop when we could to our TV, and that's when the Chromecast came out, and I picked it up.
It will run on the Chromecast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Chromecast, the original one, was a piece of shit, and I fucking hated it because I didn't realize at the time that you had to hook up your phone and do this awkward pairing thing, and it like never ever worked.
Wait, is there a new one? Because that's what I still do.
I mean, that's still how it works. I just don't think Steve knows how to use technology.
Yeah, they had a lot of updates since, but if you still have like the Gen 1 Chromecast, it's a piece of shit. You needed to get one of the later ones where they've sorted all that shit out. So if they have a launch where you can do all this cool stuff, but it's not user friendly. Yeah, I'm gonna wait.
I
That's
mean,
the same reason why
I'm gonna tell you just from being in the demo, when you play a game, you just it's just a Chrome browser. Like there's nothing to download. You click the link.
Chrome browser. Fuck that. It's all over.
It goes into full. It goes into full
The
screen.
cool thing about Google though is
I swear to God, if you tell me that you won't download
or...
Google Chrome to play video games because you're Firefox only, I'm just gonna leave.
Firefox for life. See you later.
I do find it interesting though that when Microsoft announced the Xbox One and it was always an online console, people fucking crucified them for it.
They were
and this you're right, this your cost you have to be online. It's Google, so they're tracking what you're doing, what you've bought. They're going to show you ads that are targeted to a thought you had 6 months ago. But games, we're all in.
Yeah, I can't wait to be playing Fallout 5 on this fucking service, and every other billboard I walk by is like, do you remember that ancient game of MTG in the year 2020 when this new set was coming out?
I played Magic this week. I forgot to put it on my list. I made it through 4 of 5 tutorials.
Ooh.
That's impressive.
Did you learn how to play?
Kind of. It looks interesting. I'll stick with it.
I actually started to get random ads for Wish.com, and so I checked it again, and they have a new set of 2019 ripoff cards that I'm interested in buying.
Like those amiibo cards where they put them on a badge ID.
I bought some a while ago because I was like semi-interested in what the quality was just for fun, and I also wanted a copy of a Black Lotus because I was never ever going to get a real one. So I have a couple rip-off ones, but the fakes keep getting better and better. And this year they have a whole pack of planeswalkers, which I think they did on purpose because the new set is all about planeswalkers. So yeah, it's like $20 for a bunch of like, you know, $10 to $30 cards.
I look forward to the next game night looking at your bootleg Magic cards. Well, let's go final thoughts on Stadia. Obviously, I think I've already proven that I'm excited for it. I don't think it's going to replace video gaming. Like for me, you know, we could talk about this for a lot longer because we've completely ignored a large subsect of the country that does not want the barrier to entry that a computer or a console has, and this will allow them to play the games that we enjoy.
We can't really
do that. We can't relate to them,
right?
Yeah, but yeah, I think I'm very intrigued. Now, next up is Microsoft because they're doing the exact same thing. So let's see what their service looks like and play some video games in the web browser. Closing thoughts?
It's a terrible fucking name.
Plural. It's plural.
It's terrible fucking names. What do you want me to say? The cost of entry is a controller and maybe a subscription price. Yeah, I'll try it out, but yeah, I'm probably not going to be the target audience for it.
I think it's an interesting idea, and it's pretty much where we all knew we were headed anyway, but I'm not
maybe early.
Yeah, I'm not excited till we get more details, and I probably wouldn't jump on until it was live and there were reviews, because that's how I just do things nowadays.
We're not getting any new information on it till summer, so they announce it now to hopefully build up hype, but they've left way too many questions out there, and it's having the opposite effect where people are just gamers don't give a shit, and people who do give a shit, I don't know anybody except for Gizm Dan over there.
Yeah, I need more information to formulate any sort of positive or negative opinion. Just telling me things that I can do with it is nice, but I mean, I get told all sorts of great things while I'm at work too. They're like, try this new system. It's going to be fantastic. And it turns out it fucking sucks. So until it comes out, I don't have anywhere to go with it.
I can play Assassin's Creed in 4K right there, and I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
Sorghum, do you have any opinions?
Well, I don't think Sorghum would subscribe.
That's the show this week. If
we completely skipped actually the most important piece. The Konami Anniversary pack is coming out soon.
You didn't put it in the sheet.
Well,
save it for the post show. If you like what you heard, which you probably didn't, you can go to GameNightNow.com, which just redirects to Twitch right now, and check out some of our back catalog there. But they go away after a couple of days. So if you want the old stuff, you got to go over to YouTube, search Game Night Now, or grab a podcast service of your choice, because we are on all of them. Until next week, I'm Dan with Steve, Jeff, and Sorghum. See you next week.